So maybe you've heard of the expression second spring. It's a Taoist term that is a beautiful and exquisite reframe on midlife, menopause, and beyond, third chapter for women. And if I had to put it into a nutshell, it would be this, that this period of life, starting with perimenopause, is meant to be a rebirth, a reconnection to self, a re-establishing of the relationship we have with our bodies. It's meant to be a spiritual and sexual rebirth. Now, when I found out about this over 20 years ago, when I was going through menopause, it changed my life. I'm now 63 and I have devoted my life to teaching practices that really support women in this, of how to really cultivate the lifestyle that really supports this. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about passion and desire and how at midlife, many women get challenged with this and they feel like it's gone MIA and that it's gone flat. And I get it. And what I found to be true is that it's not really gone. It's that your body is asking for a deeper connection, a deeper relationship. So that's what we dive into in this episode, all about sustainable passion and how to cultivate it. So if that's something that interests you, let's dive in. Well, hello there, love, and welcome to the Vital Goddess podcast. If you've been here before and you're tuning in again, welcome back. Always such an honor to have you here. And if you're brand new, maybe you just found the show, just tuning in for the very first time, well, we're thrilled to have you here. Welcome, welcome. And I hope you find something here that truly supports you, something that really nourishes you in some way, inspires you in some way. I'm just really thrilled to have you here giving it a try. So today I want to share a bit on sensual nourishment, sex magic, and the art of sustainable passion. And it is indeed an art. And this is inspired or brought to you by the upcoming full moon in Scorpio happening on May 1st, which also happens to land on Beltane, amazing. It's also considered to be the Flower Moon, also amazing. And it lands on a Friday, which again is amazing. So Friday being Venus Day, I always publish on Fridays. So this one feels so alive. There's a lot of power here to tap into. And there's, in general, a kind of stirring that can happen specifically under a Scorpio moon, whether it's a new moon or full moon or, anytime Scorpio energy is activated, something deeper and more instinctual starts to come alive. You might feel this as a stir of desire, a rise in passion or eros or turn on. You may feel like strong emotions coming in, maybe even stormy emotion. You may have a craving to dive deeper into something, a relationship, something that you're interested in, passionate about, curious about. There's that deep dive energy that is so signature Scorpio. So you might be feeling that an urge to dive deeper into something. Something within you might be swelling up to be explored on a deeper level, experienced on a deeper level, to be felt on a deeper level. So often, right, when the tide or the tides of Scorpio rise, we can feel like we don't quite know what to do with it. It can feel spicy, enlivening, and sexy, exciting, right? And it can feel like a lot. It can also feel jarring, disruptive, overwhelming. It could also feel like being tossed about in the waves of a turbulent sea. So there's so many things that can stir up with Scorpio being active. Scorpio by nature is deep, provocative, and seductive. It's intense. And having Moon and Venus in Scorpio myself, I can attest to that. It's powerful energy, and it often gets misunderstood. And so Scorpio invites us beneath the surface, the deeper pulse, the roots of things like intimacy, the depths of our erotic creative life force, our erotic intelligence, and a deeper pulse into perhaps things that are not said. It's the unseen material. Scorpio awakens desire. It wakes us up into the current of sexual energy which flows in us, in the planet, and in the universe. And there was a time in human history where this current, this kind of scorpionic, erotic current, was honored as sacred, life-giving, life-creating. But through the lens of patriarchy, that script was flipped, and the gifts and intensity of Scorpio have been somewhat taboo, labeled taboo, something that many people don't quite know what to do with, as I said, and that many people are afraid of, like drawn to and afraid of at the same time. But it doesn't have to be that way. Erotic energy can feel like something that we need to run from or manage or get rid of, release, expel from the body in some way, something that we need to do something about. There's an urgency about it quite often. And again, that's due to the conditioning of systems that don't honor the feminine, the body, our sensuality, and our sexuality. So, for example, the patriarchy. So, however, by design, we're designed to run this current of Eros, this beautiful life force energy, through our bodies. And our bodies are designed to hold this energy and allow it to circulate as vitality and creativity. And the beautiful thing is that under this full moon, when the sun, under every full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite each other, illuminating something, a truth. And in this case, with our full moon in Scorpio, we have the sun in Taurus directly opposite, in partnership with Scorpio, sharing an important truth, an important message with all of us. So Scorpio awakens Eros, passion, intensity, and Taurus teaches us what to do with it, how to harness it, how to harness the power of it, how to cultivate it, how to weave it into our daily lives, and how to hold it or store it so it truly nourishes and supports life. So there's been a distortion, and so many of us have been taught to relate to passion and Eros in ways that just aren't sustainable. Passion has been linked to intensity, peak experiences, moments that feel really heightened, right? That extreme kind of turned on state. Nothing wrong with that. But we are taught to view it through the lens of just that, right? This heightened experience happens and then poof, it's gone. There's like a build of excitement and a crash, similar to a sugar crash. And when those moments pass, it can feel empty, like something's missing, like we've lost something, a part of ourselves maybe, or a connection to a lover, perhaps. And while again, these experiences can offer temporary excitement and even release of stress and even relief, this kind of, letting things go, that again can be a beautiful experience. It can also easily become transactional, goal-oriented, and over time depleting. And it can also create this kind of a hungry ghost of always seeking more of that, like that sugar crash, right? That we need to, this urgency that we need to go find it again, more stimulation, more intensity. But the body was never designed to live in that kind of crash and burn intensity all the time. And we live in societies that really run, you could say, run on Dunkin', on coffee, run on the fight or flight kind of part of the nervous system. Yeah. And that definitely gets reflected in our sexuality. And so, but the body is not designed to thrive in that kind of crash and burn intensity all the time. She thrives and lives in rhythm, in cycles, in waves. And when we try to chase and sustain passion through only intensity and peak experiences without a strong container to hold it, the power of Eros spills out, similar to sand slipping through our fingers. And that kind of experience, or those kinds of experiences over time, eventually deplete us. The truth is, we can create the container to hold intensity, to hold sustained nourishment. So in Taurus language, we can call this a daily cultivation. So there are ways to, again, work with this energy, create a container to hold it, and really engage with it in ways that truly nourish us. And again, a highly Taurus person would say, it's a cultivation, a daily cultivation. It's a lifestyle. So when it comes to passion and eros, we've been handed a model that's just not sustainable. We've been taught an uber yang model. If we think of yin and yang, right? Very goal-oriented and even mechanical, a mechanical approach to our sexual energy and to our bodies, which leaves many women and men, by the way, depleted over time, especially when we hit midlife. But it happens even earlier. And feeling like, again, that sugar crash, like something's missing, like there should be more. Like, what are we missing here? Why does this feel like this sort of emptiness? And yeah, it leaves us wanting more. And here's the good news. There is more, so much more. And I also want to add to that, the yang goal-oriented approach can leave many women and men too, feeling like they've failed to get there, quote unquote, get there, and that there's something wrong or broken about them if they don't reach that goal of the ultimate explosive climax, right? So the overly yang model creates so much pressure, and the body doesn't open under pressure, which leads, I think, a lot of women to faking climax. And I get it, but it's, again, it doesn't have to be that way, right? And what's missing is the yin factor. Instead of a single wave crashing on the rocks, it's learning how to ride the waves of an entire ocean of eros that's available to us if we're open to exploring it. This experience only opens when a woman decides to cultivate her pleasure as lifestyle medicine, instills safety around it, makes it her normal baseline to feel pleasure, to say yes to pleasure. And through that, over time, she deepens her relationship with herself and expands her capacity to receive pleasure, can go there more often, and is able to hold pleasure in her system. And that's when eros starts to build personal power and becomes a source of lifelong vitality, sustainable passion. So what if passion wasn't something fleeting, but something that we could actually deepen our relationship with over time, something that becomes more easily available to you on the regular in your everyday life? And it can be. The more you tend to it, the more you nourish it, because nourishment increases our capacity. The deeper you are in relationship with yourself, the more nourished and safe your body feels, the more capacity you have for sensation, for pleasure, for desire, for that energy to flow through you, for connection with a lover if you choose, without tipping over into overwhelm and without needing to shut it down, without the sugar crash. And when I say nourishment, what I'm talking about here is slowness. Big fan of slow intimacy, slowness with ourselves and with others. Slowness, presence, touch, breath, moving away from the more goal-oriented approach and into a relationship with yourself, with your body, with your senses, your sensuality, and your relationship with the earth, with nature. So I'm just loving this Beltane full flower moon in Scorpio as a portal into a new way of being. So this lesson, this wisdom lasts way beyond the full moon portal. It's a celebration of the polarity partnership of Scorpio and Taurus. Scorpio brings the depth, the truth, the raw pulse of life. It awakens something, it stirs something. But without Taurus, that energy can feel like a lot, overwhelming, hard to stay with. But Taurus brings you back into the body, into the senses, into something steady, something nourishing, something that can actually hold and build what's been awakened and integrate it into your daily life. Desire without nourishment can burn out, and nourishment without desire can go kind of flat. But when they come together, and I feel that this is the big message of this full moon in Scorpio, passion can become sustainable. Because pleasure that isn't rooted fades, but pleasure that is tended to, nourished, deepens. It's time to get back to the garden. And there's something else I want to share here that feels really important to name, especially under a full moon in Scorpio on Beltane. I want to talk about sex magic. Sex magic is often portrayed as something shrouded in mystery and somewhat witchy, and there's nothing wrong with witchy, but quite often it's portrayed that way. Or something that's really complicated, something that you have to do in a certain way at a certain time, under a full moon perhaps. And that can be a beautiful thing to do. Maybe with a partner or by yourself, a special tantric lover perhaps, or in a specific place, a sacred place, maybe like the Egyptian pyramids or something elaborate like that. Again, that would be awesome. That would be an amazing experience, I'm sure. Or in heightened states with psychedelics, for example, and I'm sure that could be an amazing experience. There's a lot out there that associates sex magic with those kinds of experiences, right? Peak experiences, that I feel like it can be pretty misleading. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, as I said. Elaborate ceremony can be so beautiful, so powerful, transformative, all of those things. But unless it integrates back into our daily lives, it can easily become, again, kind of a hungry ghost experience that we're always chasing, that we need to go get again and again. And it can become performative and fleeting. And it can also lose its potency. Like we can have that feeling of, did that even really happen? Right? If we have a daily life that's so different from those experiences, it can really feel like, was that even me that was in that experience? Right? I think you know what I mean. But what I've come to feel is that real sex magic doesn't require any of that. The real sex magic happens much closer to our mundane lives than we've been led to believe. It happens in your body, in your breath, in the quiet moments, in your kitchen, in your garden, on a park bench, in the boardroom, or sometimes in the bedroom, in the spaces where you already are living your life. It happens in your own backyard. And when we strip it all back, what we're really talking about here is your personal relationship with your body and with life force. Sex magic at its core is embodied manifestation. It's your capacity to feel, to receive, to stay open, to choose pleasure, to choose sensation, aliveness, and allow it to say yes to allowing it to move through your body. And this is the part we haven't been taught, how to hold it. How do we hold that as a frequency of love, of radiance, and abundance? There's a belief that sexual energy is too much, overwhelming, too powerful to stay with, and too dangerous perhaps. So we shut it down, or we move out of it quickly. We try to get out of it, rid of it, right? Or control it in some way. Or we store it safely in the realm of fantasy. But what if none of that needed to be done with it? What if sex magic was simply becoming a woman who chooses to be with it, who can feel it and not leave her body, who can receive pleasure, maybe intense pleasure, without bracing, without collapsing, without needing to go somewhere else into fantasy, for example, because this is where everything shifts. When your body becomes the temple, the place where life force is safe to land. And from that place, you become incredibly magnetic. You begin to create your life from the inside out. So to me, true sex magic doesn't need to be confined to an elaborate event or peak experience. Although any ceremony or peak experience of all kinds, intensives, retreats, perhaps a special date with a tantric lover, all of those things can be absolutely incredible. But your experience of all of those things will be greatly enhanced if you have a home practice, a lifestyle of sustainable passion and pleasure. When you do, you'll step into these experiences ready to play. And when you do this kind of backyard cultivation in your everyday life, peak experiences will be so much richer and deeper, Scorpio. And you'll be so much more able to integrate these experiences into your daily life in ways that support you, nourish you and your loved ones, and truly expand you from a rooted place, Taurus. It becomes a way of being. And this is where sexual energy becomes sacred practice, not a novelty that you visit once in a while. It's something that you choose to live as your birthright as a woman. And this is why those small moments matter, those little returns to sensual pleasure, the daily doses, the micro doses of pleasure. And there's one more layer that I feel like I need to add here. It's about our erotic relationship with nature. There's something deeply erotic about nature, isn't there? The way things bloom, the way things grow, the way life moves in cycles, the steady, regenerative fertility that's always there. There are sacred patterns in earth and sky, and we're not separate from that. We're woven into it, and we're meant to dance with it. Our relationship with nature reminds us that sexuality and sensuality, Scorpio and Taurus, were never meant to be separate. They're the same current, and they're meant to work in partnership. So the wisdom of this Beltane, full flower moon in Scorpio, this is ancient. This is something the ancients knew and lived, and something that we've forgotten under the spell of patriarchy, but we're beginning to remember. It's something we remember simply and powerfully by coming into relationship with ourselves and our bodies, with our sensuality, and with nature. It's a reclamation of something ancient and something sacred, and it's something that your body already knows. And in celebration of that, there's a practice I want to share with you now called yoni breathing, a sensual breathwork practice that will really support you in cultivating sustainable passion and awaken more of your creative aliveness. I consider it to be a sex magic practice. It's so simple, wonderful for a daily dose practice. It's under 5 minutes. So let's dive in. You can follow along with me here. And in the show notes, you'll also find a link to download the audio for this practice so you can do it anytime you choose. So let's dive in. Welcome, my love, to yoni breathing, a sensual breathwork practice for awakening sustainable passion and creative aliveness. So you may want to use an essential oil in this practice. It can be really beautiful to deepen your experience. So if you have one handy, you want to grab that and anoint yourself, your wrists, your neck, whatever you like to do with that. So you have that beautiful scent to accompany your journey. And you may also want to use a yoni egg or a jade egg in this practice, if that's familiar to you. If not, no worries, we will definitely be visualizing. So find a comfortable seat and clearing a little space for your base, so sits bones east to west. And breathing in through your nose and exhale with a sigh through your mouth. And taking that twice more, really allowing yourself to arrive. And on your next inhale, I invite you to really breathe in the scent of something amazing, real or imagined. And exhale through the mouth, just let it go, let it be easy. So here we breathe to receive, awakening our sensuality with our sense of smell. So again, breathing, softening sinuses, softening backs of eyes, and exhale, let go of any tension. And finding a steady rhythm that feels good, that feels supportive. You may want to take a hand to your heart, inviting the breath wave down into the heart space. And you may want to take a hand to the womb space below the navel, inviting the breath wave into the womb space. And I invite you now to imagine your yoni as a beautiful flower. And on your inhale, she's blossoming open. And on the exhale, hug your egg, real or imagined. So coming into a slight bud. And again, inhale is a beautiful unfolding. And the exhale is an anchoring, feeling that hug on your egg. And continue with that pattern. Inhale, blossoming open, and exhale, hug. And bringing your practice to a close, returning now to your natural breath and smiling deeply into your yoni. Beautiful. And remember, this work is never about fixing yourself. It's about coming into a deeper relationship with yourself, with your body, with your sensuality, with your power, with your feminine soul. And this is one of the many practices that I share that would support you in that. And if you're feeling the call to dive deeper, I have a space where we can meet on Zoom. I call it the Aligned Embodiment Call. You can hop on a call with me for about 30 minutes or so, and we can dive deeper. I can really answer any questions you have about the container that I run for women, my Sacred Feminine Mystery School, my Venusian Mystery School called the Vital Goddess Mastery Program. It's a living temple for women who are navigating midlife and beyond, who really want to reclaim their bodies in this way, their sensuality, and the power of their pleasure. So the Aligned Embodiment Call is a chance for you and I to meet, get all of your questions answered, and really discover what is the next best aligned step for you. So you'll find a link to book that call in the show notes, and I hope to meet you soon. Have a beautiful full moon in Scorpio, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.